What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video, and as you can see, we are going to be changing the oil on a Mercury Pro XS 175. And the purpose of this is more so to kind of save you some money, because a lot of those service fees can kind of add up, and sometimes we're up out of our warranty to where you're going to have to start working on your boat yourself, or having a buddy or somebody kind of work on it for you. But these steps are very, very easy. It doesn't take very long. But like I said, we are changing the oil on a Mercury Pro XS 175 4-stroke, and we're going to go ahead and do step by step to kind of make this a little bit easier and cheaper for you. So the first couple things you need to do is definitely do your research. You want to make sure that like all your oil matches up, with the 4-stroke is, you're using 4-stroke oil, you're using a 10W30. You need to make sure that everything that you're using matches up to your boat, because you don't want something to go south and you're using the wrong products and you're using, the wrong stuff to where it kind of voids your warranty. And then you're going to be spending tons of money to try to get that fixed or replaced. So some of the things you'll need is you'll definitely need the oil, and I'm using the 4-stroke 10W30 because I have the Mercury Pro XS 175. You definitely want something to drain the oil in, and I actually will use this right here to put the oil in here and take it to a local location that actually will take used oil from you. Sometimes if you use, or you give them too much oil, they may charge you, but if you're not using a lot of oil, they'll actually take it for free. Actually a little bit easier and safer and cleaner to travel with it in a sealed container. Obviously, if you have it in this right here, you can get a lid for it. You definitely want a funnel. It makes it obviously a lot easier and cleaner. You obviously definitely want a rag to clean up any kind of messes. We'll definitely use this socket wrench here, and it is a 5/8. And you don't see the filter here because I already put it on the motor, but you definitely obviously want that filter as well. And you need to make sure that that filter that actually has a coat on the side of it matches the filter that you have in your boat. So now that we're up here to take the cowling off, it's very easy. You take your hand and press it kind of right here. Give it a good little push. So this is the location that I was telling you about. Kind of, tells you what oil you need to use, how many liters, and where to kind of measure the oil from when you use or pull the dipstick out. So right here, as you can see, there's a small little handle with a red button. You just go ahead and push that and kind of pop it up, and you'll hear it click. Once it clicks, you can go ahead and take this off carefully. A lot of times guys do not put it on their boat because it may have some oil on it, and you don't want that oil on your boat. But we're going to go ahead and take this off real quick. All right, now that the cowling's off, you got to take the kickstand out, and then you want to lower the motor as level as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and level it. All right, so that's about level right there. It's not touching the floor. I got that little board there too, but it's not hitting it. It may look like it is, but you want to lower the motor as level as possible. And what that's going to do, if it's up too high or if it's down too low, sometimes the oil will sit in some of these little pockets that are inside the motor. So keeping it level will allow that oil to fall down nice and easy. All right, so now that we're level, we have our funnel in place, we have our bucket ready to catch the oil, our 5/8 socket wrench, and this is really important. When you crank it down, you just want to loosen it, and then take your hand and you want to use your fingers and slowly start to twist this to allow that oil to come out. The initial loosen, or the initial pop when you loosen this, it doesn't actually spill oil out. You actually have to start twisting it. So once that oil comes out, it got a nice little flow, go ahead and stop. And you don't want to twist it too far because it could result in a problem. And then when you tighten it, you don't want to over tighten it to where you may strip something or break something off, because if you break this off or this nut right here pops out, you're going to be in some trouble. So real quick, before I loosen this, what I like to do is I like to come up to the top where the dipstick is, and I actually will pull this up and allow some air to get in there to allow that oil to run down a little bit better. So now that all the oil is in the container, go ahead and tighten this up, and make sure you don't tighten it too crazy. And then we're going to head over to the filter. All right, so this is the filter here. Once all the oil is drained out of here, there shouldn't be much oil in this, but if there is oil in it, sometimes you want to keep a rag kind of close by in case some of it spills out. But you just want to be careful. And if you want to be on the safe side, this actually has a small little tray right here that can catch some of the oil that drips out. And then this right here, you can actually put a little hose on it to where it would leak into a bucket or a little container. So I typically do the filter after all the oil is drained, just to get some of the oil out of here. But what I like to do is I like to use one of these little filter clamps right here. They say that you're only supposed to hand tighten these, but I can't ever get them off. So I use one of these little clamps here. I twist it off, put the new one on, and before you put the new one on, you definitely want to make sure that the filter number matches the new filter. And then before you put the filter on, you also want to make sure that you take some oil, new or old, and wipe it around that seal before you put it on here. And they say that, you know, you should be able to hand tighten these, but once I hand tighten it, I take that little clamp wrench and I snug it pretty good. All right, so now that the filter is snugged down, we're going to go ahead and remove the cap and put our 6.6 liters in here. And we'll measure that from the little yellow measuring balls that they have on here. And they also have a very good guide right here. So always look at the guide, always look at the manual. So what I'm going to do now is pull the dipstick. I'm going to wipe it down, insert it, and then we're going to go ahead and start to measure the oil by putting it in here. So here's the dipstick. You got that little ball there, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they say usually this is the best operating measurement right here when you put the oil in. So once you put it in and you start filling up and you get to like 6, or you know, slow down just a little bit, pull it out, and if it's dripping from, you know, those first 3 and it's not dripping off of this 4th one, then you want to keep on adding some oil. Once it starts dripping off of this 4th one, when you pull it out and you hold it kind of like this, you'll see it start to drip off of there. Maybe even a little bit here, but you don't ever want it past this. You know, on that diagram right there, it says the best location to have it drip off of is about this 4th ball here, and maybe just a little bit past it, but we're going to go ahead and try to do that. So let's see if we can do it. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 liters in there already. It takes 6.6, but what we're going to do right now is just stop, and we're going to measure the dipstick, and we're going to see where it's kind of dripping off at. And next, we're going to slowly put the next bottle in, and as you can see right here, it actually has some measurements on it. So you can put, you know, about half of that in there, and if you're not sure what the half is, just look on the side of the bottle and it will tell you. There's 32 ounces in it, so once it gets to about like 16, it's about half, but I want to probably stop at 24, 20, and 16 to just kind of see where it's at. So let's pull the dipstick. All right, so we're going to pull it all the way out, and we're going to see where it's kind of dripping. I see it dripping at the first one, the second one, and a little bit at the 3rd one. So we're going to have to put that last little liter in there. All right, so we put half of that last liter in, and we're going to go ahead and measure the dipstick now. So I do see it dripping from 1, 2, and you probably can't see it, but I see it on that 4th one as well, but not as thick, so we could probably put a little bit more in. All right, so once I put that 6.6 in, I actually put the dipstick in, wiped it, put it in, wiped it, put it in, and when I pulled it back out, I actually saw it dripping from the 4th one. So we put the cap back on, the dipsticks back in, the filters in. We made sure that the bottom release is tight. So now we can put the cowling on and hike it back up on the little jack. But a lot of the times, once you do this, as soon as you put it in the water, start up your boat, let it run for about 10 to 15 minutes, and you should be golden. So that's exactly how you change the oil on a Mercury Pro XS 175.